The Canik TP9SA Mod 2, let's check it out. Guys, I've never seen a firearm company that was so responsive as Canik. Starting out with their standard TP955, you know, it was a great pistol in itself. And then they just began to produce a number of different type firearms. One thing about Canik is that it doesn't just upgrade the standard pistol to the next model. They produce a number of different 9mm pistols that have different features, and yet they're all in the same family. So today we're going to take a look at the TP9SA Mod 2. There are some changes that have been made over the original SA. One of the big ones is the decocker has been changed. If you don't like the decocker, which a lot of guys don't like decockers, you can go with the SF model, which they did away with it. But if you do, you like the added safety, these are very similar to the Walther P99. You're not going to be able to beat in quality and price the Canik TP9SA Mod 2. Now, the original TP9s started coming into the country in 2012, so these have been around for a good while. There's a number of different models from the SA, the SF, the V2, and there have been improvements over each one of those. I mean, Canik's really just prolific in putting out different models. The long slide, the optics ready model. I mean, there are just a lot of different features. Now, we're going to go ahead and drop the magazine to make sure it's unloaded. And it is. It comes with two 18-round magazines, and it does have one of the AFC coatings, which is kind of a matte finish. The original magazines had a blued finish to them, and this really helps with, especially if you get grime and dirt and sand, things like that in it, this helps. Now, these are made by Metgar, which are excellent. There is a slight bevel at the magazine well, makes it really easy to insert. Dropping the mags, they're drop free. It has a steel slide, polymer frame, striker fire pistol. Now, I've done a full review on the original TP9SA, and there are some differences. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about just some of the features of the TP9SA in general. First, you get a match grade barrel. It is cold hammer forged. The slide has a Cerakote finish, but underneath it has a phosphate finish, so it's going to really attach well to the slide. Cocking serrations are good and solid, very easy to grab hold of. The texturing on the frame, nice, aggressive texturing. And then here at the back we have kind of the pyramids, which seems to be really popular with a lot of handguns. This does have one strap that you can interchange. We'll look at that in a minute when we look at the box. It does have the Picatinny rail, 3 slots. Now, Canik, which these are made in Turkey. Canik is actually pronounced in Turkish Canik, but Turkey is also pronounced Turkey. So we're going to pronounce this in the English version of Canik. I always get a lot of comments about the proper pronunciation, but we're going to go with the American version. Now, one of the big things about this slide that's different, it does come with Warren tactical sights, and these are metal sights, blacked out in the back, and then a front bright dot. These are really easy to see. Now, one thing that I will mention about these sights is the gap is fairly open. So when you're lining it up with your dot, if you really want to get super pinpoint accuracy, sometimes that front sight can float a little bit. I like them to be a little tighter, but the accuracy we were getting, though, was excellent. Now here at the back, you're going to notice this red dot. This is a cocked striker indicator. This is not a loaded chamber indicator, but when you pull the trigger, it disappears. That way you know the gun is cocked. We're going to place a dummy round in the magazine. Right here at the top, small little rise, and that means that the chamber is loaded. With the dummy round removed, you'll see that it is totally flat. Now here I have the original TP9SA. One way that you know immediately is that right here on the slide it is marked Mod 2. But there are a few differences, but there are a lot of similarities. One of the big differences are the sights. Here you have an adjustable rear sight on the original and a front sight, which these are CZ replacement sights. With the new Canik Mod 2, the Warren Tacticals, this can be changed for the Glock 43. Has a lot to do with the thinness right here of the slide, and then on the front they're using a Smith & Wesson M&P sight. So you can get any kind of sights, night sights, or a lot of different versions to change out your sights. Another big difference is the abbreviated decocker on the Mod 2. You'll notice that the Mod 1 has a large ambidextrous decocker. Now this has been a point of contention with the Canik pistols. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why they've gone with the SA, the SA Elite, the V2. I mean, there's a number of different models, the DA, that's come out to address this issue. These are designed as military pistols. And so when you hit that decocker, it renders the gun inoperable. Now, one of the big things about this, because a lot of guys were complaining, saying that, oh, you can inadvertently depress the decocker. These are also very similar to the Walther P99. Here on this side, it's very small and minimal, but it takes quite a bit of force, even with the double side, to activate that decocker. I mean, I have to really push it pretty hard. Again, they have the other models that are absent, that have the decocker absent, but yet they're still selling the SA quite a bit, to the point that they've made a Mod 2. So the market's there for this. If you don't like it, guys, just go with the SF model or go with the double action models that you can kind of go around the decocker. Another big change is the top of the slide. If you'll notice, we have serrations on the original model, and then it's just a flat, smooth surface, which Canik has pretty much gone to that with all their other models. But one of the big pluses for that is, if you'll notice here at the rear of the slide, the original is kind of rounded off and it's kind of large. Here at the back, we've trimmed it down, and they found that this naturally attracts the eye to the sight. And so for more tactical or self-defense applications, this is going to draw your eye a lot faster than with the larger back, which this is very reminiscent of the Walther P99. And guys, to be honest, these handguns were inspired pretty closely to the Walther P99 design, with some cues from the Walther PPQ. Now, one of the things also that I noticed was on the barrel, there are relief cuts on the original TP9SA. But on the Mod 2, it's more beefed up in this chamber area. It's going to give you some more strength. Again, these are cold hammer forged barrels. They've been run to 50,000 rounds without failure. And they are excellent, very accurate, as we've seen. One small change that I did note is that there's texturing right here on this little surface, and with the original, it's just smooth. And that's pretty much the only difference with the frame, except for the slide stop, which is more of a matte finish on the original, and it has a little bit more of a sheen, a little better quality in my opinion, on the slide stop of the Mod 2. The slide markings on the original TP9SA, you see the Century Arms logo embossed into the slide. Here they've removed that, but again they've added the Mod 2 here at the back. And on the other side, it's pretty much the same. Now here on the TP9SF Elite, you'll notice that there is an absence completely of the decocker. If you don't like the decocker, guys, there's a lot of other Canik options out there. Another thing that the Elite has done is the slide stop is enlarged and a lot easier to engage. One of the big things about the Canik TP9 line across the board is that the triggers are really exceptional. And let's drop the magazine, make sure the gun is unloaded. Now here we have the standard trigger blade safety. You'll notice that back here, when you depress that safety, it clears and allows you to pull the trigger. Anywhere else that you pull, even at the top, is not going to disengage that safety. So it has to be a pull that is on purpose. Now, as far as the trigger action, we're going to pull it. Right here is just some take up. There's a little bit of resistance right there. But then a very clean break. Reset, very crisp and fast. We're going to check trigger pull with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 4 pounds, 4.6 ounces. 4 pounds, 6.9 ounces. It's under the 4.5 pound mark. Guys, I'm telling you, this trigger is excellent. The barrel is just under 4.5 inches at 4.6 inches. The total length is 7.5 inches. It's 5 3/4 inches in height, and it's about 1 1/4 inches in width at the widest point. And the weight, 1 pound, 13 ounces. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for sponsoring the 9mm full metal jacket ammo. We're going to shoot about 300 rounds, test this out. Get a 5% discount using Suit00 at the Freedom Munitions website. Now, we went to the range, and as expected, the gun just ran. I mean, there was no problems. We shot 300 rounds through here. Pull the trigger, it goes bang. There's no problems. Now, one of the things about it is this decocker. What is it all about? And just wanted to kind of show you how this thing really works and the purpose behind it. I'm going to show you the way the decocker works. Insert a magazine. We're going to drop the slide. Now, in this configuration, we can just pull the trigger and it fires. If I hit the top here of the decocker, it's dead trigger. So what I have to do is actually re-rack. Now, I didn't have to go all the way back. I just had to set the striker. So I just brought it back a little bit and I was able to fire. That way, if you want to put the gun away, you don't really trust the trigger, you can just decock it, put it in your holster. When you bring it out though, you're going to have to rack the slide. It's not a big favorite for me, but there's a lot of people that like it that way. Now guys, obviously the decocker again is not for everyone. If you don't like this feature, again, just go with the SF, which does away with that. But if you want that added safety, if you don't really like carrying one with the striker cocked and a round in the chamber, pop it down, you're ready to go. Now let's break down the pistol, drop the magazine, check the chamber to make sure it's unloaded. First thing you want to do is go ahead and pull the trigger, pull back on your slide just a little bit and pull down your takedown tabs, and the slide comes right off. We have a steel guide rod and spring, has one of the flat coil springs which helps with recoil. Got your standard barrel. This is a Browning linkless design. And we have the slide. Slide is really good quality, of course. It's very reminiscent of a lot of the other striker fire pistols out on the market. And here we have our frame, which is definitely inspired by the Walther design. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip the pistol for reassembly. Drop in your barrel, your recoil spring, and guide rod. Bring the slide over your frame, and you're good to go. 18 in 1, oh yeah. Canik always offers a good solid box. Of course, you get your pistol, 2 magazines, magazine loader, safety lock. You get 1 extra back strap, and then right here is a tool to change out those back straps. You also get a bore brush and a cleaning rod, and you get your owner's manual. And of course, your warranty card. And there is a piece of foam that kind of covers up the whole thing. Now, one thing too is you get this holster. And this is a retention style holster. There's a small button, but it just retains the pistol. You get a removable rubber strap. This holds in, and you get a paddle And these are great little holsters until you can get something else, or you can just keep this one. The magazine capacity is pretty impressive with 18 in 1. And for states that aren't so free, they are available with 10-round magazines. The magazines are reasonable at about $25.99 for the 18+1. And then if you go with the 20+1, they're $29.99. And the MSRP on the Canik TP9SA is $399, and I found it for considerably less on a number of different websites. Now, all the Canik pistols come with a limited lifetime warranty on them, and guys, these guns are up to it. Again, 50,000 round barrel life, and without any kind of major problems with the pistol. They are NATO approved. They do come in this black Cerakote finish and also an FDE with an FDE frame. So there's a couple of different choices, and again, you get your 18-round magazines, or you can also get the same version with 10-round magazines. And I want to thank Canik and Century Arms for sending the pistol for this test and evaluation. Guys, in this price range, there are a lot of pistols that match the Canik, but not in quality. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. So we're going to take a look today at they're faint, they're small. Okay. You know, a lot of guys are kind of feel funny about carrying a Glock with no, put it back on the frame. Yeah, I didn't do it right. It makes it really nice to be able to bring guns like this to you guys to show you the difference, because this is awesome. Awesome.